Hello, freaks. So, this video has taken a little while to get ready, because I will tell you, I have had a difficult time trying to sort this video out. In which I mean, I've had a difficult time narrowing down, placing and finding the book. So this is my from worst to best list of 2021. So instead of doing two lists, one the worst of 2021 and the best of 2021 that I've read, the books I've read, I've decided I'm going to just talk about all of the books in one go and rank them from the worst books I've read to the best. Now, a few things I should make clear. A main reason I did this is because some of these books you just wouldn't have seen because I started the YouTube channel a bit later in the year. And then also just because there's just a lot of books I want to sort of talk about again and just put them. I think this is an interesting way of doing it. Okay, so the thing I need to make clear as well is there are a few things missing from here. So first of all, the two big Finnish audio dramas are not on here. I counted them on my Goodreads for the year. Because I think, personally, I listen to them. I can count them. They're on Goodreads. So let me think. How many books? I read 33 books last year in 2021. And out of those, I'm talking about 31 books here because also I don't have the oh god, I'm forgetting things now. I don't have the horrible histories I read. I think it's Terrible Tudors, just because where do you put something like that in a list from worst to best? It just doesn't really fit. And also I should say that obviously my own opinions. If you love these books, that's fine, and I think there's a fair few in here that may have people raising their eyebrows. But I will also say, a lot of these books weren't awful. I think I only read one that I truly state as bad. Maybe two, depending on how I'm feeling. Whereas a lot of these were just kind of mediocre. My reading got a lot better towards the end of the year. And obviously you're going to remember a lot of these. In fact, a lot of the top reads of the year are the later books, like the last few books I read in the year, sort of the sprint of reading I had. So you're probably going to guess, you're definitely going to guess which my favourite is. Even I'd probably say my top three, maybe. So yeah, let's just jump into it because I've been rambling for a little while now. So let's begin then. So right at the bottom, so my least favourite read of the year was unfortunately the first book I read of the year, which was Time Worm Genesis. I've talked about this on the podcast. In fact, I've talked about all of the Time Worm, was it quadrilogy? There's 4 books. It's by John Peel on the podcast. And then I did a wrap-up of those books on the channel. So if you wanted a brief glimpse of what I thought of this, then you can watch it on the channel. If you want a full review, even though it's not one of my favourite reviews I've done, then you can obviously go to the podcast. Look for it. I think in the wrap-up I did, I named the episode. So if you want to go on there and find it. There's a lot of books. I'm not even going to attempt trying to find where the reviews and stuff are. Okay, so Time Worm Genesis. I actually enjoyed this for the most part. I give it 2 stars. So the thing with this one is that there's some really problematic, just not great stuff in here, paired with some just some bad characterization for the Seventh Doctor and Ace. Also not understanding the historical story this is sort of retelling. It just doesn't work particularly well. Now, I enjoyed this because it's the Seventh Doctor and Ace, and I love the Seventh Doctor and Ace, and it's Doctor Who. So, of course, I'm going to have a little bias here. So I think most people would probably regard this, out of all the books I've read this year, I think most people would probably regard this as the worst, and so do I. So yeah, but would probably not enjoy this if they weren't a fan of Doctor Who. So yeah, that's why it's at the end of my list. This just was not a particularly enjoyable read for the most part, although I did enjoy it I did sort of enjoy it, but you know, I mean, I got through it, so. Oh god, where am I going to put these? Okay, I'm going to put these on the floor. Right, next is... Oh, I feel really bad about this, but I also don't. So, it's My Policeman by Bethan Roberts. I talked about this book... Oh, I just spat at you. I talked about this book in my sort of TBR, which I must say, while I did get to some of the books, I failed spectacularly at, which I thought would probably happen. I didn't think I'd get to them all in reality, because, as I say, I'm a mood reader. But this was one I was particularly keen to get to, because there is a movie coming out, and I am still excited for the film, because I think they can tell this story better than what's here. I personally didn't like a lot of the decisions made in this book. I think Bethan Roberts is a fantastic author. I think she is really gifted at writing, but I just didn't like the story she chose to tell here. First of all, I just don't like the whole Marion stuff. I get what she was trying to do, but personally it just doesn't... It just annoyed me more than anything, and it wasn't interesting, and particularly the ending in what they did with that ending just kind of really, really bugged me. I just didn't like it. It's also just, it took me a long time to get through. There is a lot of Marion, too much, personally. It seemed like she tried to tell... the two stories, but was because she's kind of putting herself in the mind of, you know, she sees herself as Marion, I think. So that's the story she decides to tell the most, and for me, it was the least interesting. It was the most annoying. It had some of the biggest gripes I have with this book. I just don't like Marion as a character. I understand what they were trying for. The idea that women back in those days really didn't have a lot of choices. The idea of, like, you know, the idea of having to marry and stuff like that, and otherwise you're seen as being on the shelf, that sort of thing is just... I get it, but it just didn't work for me personally. I just think it kind of... It undermined the stuff to do with the gay stuff, basically, which I just don't like. I'm not saying she had to do either or, but I don't think she really... I don't think she handled it the best, to be honest. So yeah, this was a disappointment for me personally. It took me a while to read. And I was annoyed quite a bit through the book. Which I think you are supposed to be annoyed at certain things, but other things, not so much. Right, so next we have The New Girl by R.L. Stine. So this is obviously the bind-up, the Fear Street. This was just weird. I've struggled thinking where to place this, to be honest, because this wasn't bad, and I'd even say that books later on in here were worse. But this was just weird and not a good start for a series. It just... I don't know how to describe it. It's just weird. And that's all I'm going to say, to be honest. Because it was just weird. Yeah. Oh, God. Chucking it at me. Right, okay. Next we have Nick and Charlie by Alice Oseman. I wish I enjoyed this more. This was just annoying. This had one of the tropes I really don't like in books. Or it's not really a trope, actually. It's more of just a thing I don't like in, I guess, romance, or anything really, which is that the crux of the sort of arguments and stuff, of the fallout or whatever's going on, is sort of forced. It's forced, basically. It felt very forced. It felt like it could have been solved really quickly, and it's a little novella, so it's just kind of, or even really a short story, to be honest, because there's pictures as well, and it's got really big writing. The thing is, I love Heartstopper. I love that story. I love these two boys. I think they're great. I love these characters, but it just didn't work for me. And also, I think part of this, and I will admit to this, I've not read Solitaire, and this came after that. It wasn't to do with Heartstopper at the time. That wasn't part of this. So the characters we see there are not the same characters we see here. I get that. But at the same time, it didn't work for me. Okay. Next, we have The Cousins. So, this is by Karen M. McManus. Actually, I should probably check. Yeah, no, I'm okay. Right, yeah. The Cousins. So, the thing with this is that I have not read One of This Is Lying or any of their other books. I've only read this, and I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it. The thing is, though, the reason this is here is because I remember nothing about it, really. I remember having fun with it, enjoying it, being a nice read. But I can't really put it any higher when I just don't remember anything. It just doesn't really stick in the mind, which I think is fine. I don't really mark it down, really. Like, I don't think this is one of the worst reads of the year, but I just can't put it anywhere there, because even the books that annoyed me, or, books that I consider probably worse than this, at least I remember better. I mean, obviously, I've got Nick and Charlie, but that was more disappointment and certain other reasons. So yeah, The Cousins. It was good, but I just don't remember anything about it. Okay, so next we have actually no we don't. Next we have Behind Her Eyes, another thriller, although a very different thriller to The Cousins. So, and it's an adult one as well. I don't actually have this anymore. I did read the physical copy, mostly. I actually gave it on to my nan. Now, the thing with this is, it was right time, right place for me. I did enjoy it. It was something I needed at that time. I won't get into it all, but I was having a bit of a difficult time, and I needed something that was light, easy, and entertaining to read. And Behind Her Eyes was that book. But thinking about it back, it's dumb. It's very dumb, I think. There were some interesting ideas in the book, but I just think it was a silly, fun time, but nothing spectacular. And these later ones, in fact, actually, a similar case to this, Sting of the Zygons by Stephen Cole. Again, same thing. It was what I wanted at the time. Easy, light. Also, this was nice because when I read this, I was looking for something that I was used to and comfortable with. It's Doctor Who, it's David Tennant. So, you know, I knew this one. So, yeah, both sort of in that vein. So there you go. Okay. Next we have No, I Can't Even. So, by Simon James Green. I enjoyed this for the most part. There are a few things that I didn't like. I won't get into them because they're kind of spoilery, but I will say I would look up trigger warnings for this. I also just I both like and don't like Noah, the main character. There are times when I think he's written a bit too much of, honestly, a bit of an arsehole. And I get what they're trying to do. I just, again, I enjoyed this though. This was funny for the most part. It started out quite slow, but there was some really funny stuff in here. It was enjoyable. I'm going to read more of this author's work, including the sequel to this. And I think there's a short story as well. So yeah, no, I did enjoy this. It was fun. I had a few problems with it, but I felt like it could just be shorter. I felt like it probably could have been shorter, to be honest. Oh god, how am I going to talk about this one? Here we go. Oh, actually, I didn't mention, I've done a review of Sting of the Zygons, if you want to check that out on the YouTube channel. So if you want to see a proper, full-length talk about that one, then, oh, and in fact, I did talk about, I guess, reviewed Behind Her Eyes, after I'd read it, so yeah, on the podcast. And I think we discussed the programme. I have not watched all the programme, because I wasn't bothered with it, to be honest. But anyway, so we've got Genocide on the Infinite Express by Kevin Sweeney. How do I talk about this one? It's an interesting book. It's published, it's the New Bizarro Author series, which I think is a really awesome thing. I like that. And this is very bizarre. This is weird. There's a lot of interesting ideas in here. There's a lot of sort of existential things. The thing is, I can't really talk about this one. I don't have the mental capacity, to be honest. Having said that, I liked a lot of the stuff, but I had some problems. Again, I don't think I did a review of this, but I know I did wrap up. I did a wrap up and I talked about this book and I gave kind of an idea of what I thought of it, and also I said there, and I will say again, trigger warnings, but also there are just some stuff I do not like. The kind of, not even kind of rapey stuff in here, or there's one scene, I should say, it's not throughout the book, and also just the sexual stuff. I'm not a prunish person. I don't generally care to read about sex in books because it doesn't really, but personally, I don't think it really added anything to the story, and it was just, there was just some weird stuff in here. I guess I get what they would, I guess I get why the sex was there, because there was stuff to do with the fact that it was kind of like, oh, she's kind of like a sister sort of thing. Like, there's some incestuous stuff. You know, I don't know. I liked a lot of the ideas in here, and I read it. I mean, it's a short book. I'm not sad I read it, but yeah, I don't know if I'd recommend this to a lot of people, to be honest. Okay. Zombie. Whew. This was a reread for me. And I liked it. I had a good time. I think from this point on, I enjoyed I enjoyed these. I don't have many problems with them from this point on, I think. So we're okay now. We've got past the stuff that I'd say I had major problems with, but I liked most extent, to stuff where I did genuinely enjoy. Well, actually, no, this one does have issues. But not major issues that really put me off. And I will admit, I'm not the most nostalgic for this one in particular, but this was a favourite series of mine, so yeah. Now, I'm just trying to think, did I do a YouTube review of this, or did I do a podcast review? I think I did a podcast review. But either way, I enjoyed this. This was a fun time. It had some really interesting ideas. I felt like it was kind of a unique zombie story. I say zombie story, there isn't really zombies until like the last, like, I don't know. It's late into the story, basically. So yeah, I enjoyed this, and I will continue reading. So yeah, I don't have a lot to say about that one, and actually the same for this. Fence Volume 1. I've not read Fence Volume 2 yet. I thought it was good. It was enjoyable. I liked it. And I will be getting more volumes of Fence. So there you go. Next, this feels good not to put this really, really low, to be honest, and to actually have it be an enjoyable one, because Doctor Who Virgin New Adventures is something that I'm really, like, I've got a lot of those books. I'm so happy that, like, after the first one, I enjoyed them all to various extents, but I did enjoy them all. This was my least favourite in terms of ones that I did really enjoy, but I did really enjoy it. It's a fun one. I know a lot of people say this is very paint by numbers. It's been done before, but I think there were some really interesting ideas here. I liked the incorporation of the Second Doctor. I liked what was going on. I liked the characters. I liked the kind of sort of growing up. Oh God, what do you call that? You know, the growing up trope, the growing up story. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I liked the fact that it focused a lot on Ace, and as a character, and her evolving from where she was in the program. And I like the fact that it continues on into the next book as well. Sort of, it does and it doesn't. Well, it does, but and I sped through this. It was a really enjoyable read, and I'm happy I read it. Okay, next we have. Technically, I read most of this in 2020, but I finished it in 2021, and that was Sword of Destiny, the second book, or the second short story collection of the Witcher series, and after that is the first novel, which I'm hoping to get to. This was on my TBR list. So Sword of Destiny, I really enjoy. Again, like The Last Wish, it's a really great world building. Really like the characters. There's some really interesting stories to hear, and I'd say on the whole, these stories were a lot more interesting than the first one in The Last Wish. And also, I felt like this connected a lot more as well. It felt more like we were seeing more of the story here, rather than them just being random stories following The Witcher. This felt like a true proper collection of going through these stories and seeing where he ends up. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. And I'm excited to start the first of the proper novels. Right, so next we have Reunion by, who's this by? Fred Ullman. I think that's how you pronounce it. So I did talk about this in the wrap-up. I enjoyed it. It's a very interesting, sad story, novella, centering on these two characters' friendship, sort of on the lead up to World War II, isn't it? Yes. God, I'm gonna feel stupid if I got that wrong. And also it's basically a tragedy, kind of, or not really a tragedy. It's just a character study, I guess, of these two characters, their friendship, and what happens when that conflict, enters their life. How they are shaped by the world and also by their views and by other people's views, and just the, I guess, regrets. This book feels very much like regret as a book. And I guess the last sentence of this book is emotional. So yeah, I really did enjoy this. I feel like this, it sounds like this should be far higher. It didn't have the biggest impact or anything on me personally, but I did enjoy it and I appreciate it for what it is. Next we have actually, yes, sorry, I nearly forgot. So, next we have actually two books, well, one after the other. To be honest, these could sort of swap over, to be honest. They're both pretty good. I guess I'd probably say Gay Love and Other Fairy Tales was the better. But, I think that's what it's called. Is it Fairy Tales? No. Other Magic? No. Other... Anyway. So these two are Boy Meets Hamster and... I've accidentally put that in Boy Meets Boy. Anyway. And Gay Love and Other Fairy Tales. So, I enjoyed both of these. These were two queer romances. One I'd say middle grade, Boy Meets Hamster. The other kind of middle grade, more YA really, but you know. And then Gay Love was definitely YA. These were nice, light reads. I read them on Kindle. I don't usually read Kindle. And I did really, really enjoy them. And I've just realised that there is one book I haven't put on the list, which I've forgotten what it's called, but I read it a long time ago, and I feel like I need to reread it anyway, so we're not going to talk about that one. But yes, no, I enjoyed these. These were nice, sweet, mushy, queer love stories, basically. Queer romances. They were nice. I enjoyed it. So yeah. Next, though, we have King and the Dragonflies. I'll be honest, I probably need to reread this as well. I enjoyed it. I say I enjoyed it. I think this is fantastic. However, my reading experience of it was really weird because I just did not know what this was going to be. To be honest, this is a middle grade, which honestly verges more on YA. To be honest, and it's a very, very good one. But it was not what I expected. It was not the story I expected, and so because of that, I think it tripped me up a little bit. And I didn't really know what to make of it, and I'm still questioning how I truly feel about it. But I will say that I think the main character here, King, that's his brother. King is a fantastically drawn character, brilliant. They're allowed to make mistakes, and not just small little mistakes, but massive mistakes that kids make, and he's just such a believable character. His experience, the way he learns who he is, and also the world around him and how it works and stuff. He's very naive to a lot of things. And that journey of discovery was fantastically done. But again, it's fairly low because I just kind of got tripped up with it, so yeah. Next, we have what I think may be one of the most fun books I've read this year, in terms of just pure, like, just going through it, having fun. There is another book on this list that I'd say, or actually a few other books I'd say, beat it out for that, but it is one very fun book, and that was The Body Snatchers by Jack Finney. There was one bit of creepiness, but most of it was just really fun, and I love the idea. I'm not a massive fan of the remade movie that everyone loves. I like it. I liked it a lot more the second time around I watched it. But yeah, this was fun. I enjoyed the story. I like the twist and turn. I say twist and turns, but it was good fun. The one issue I had with it, and the reason that it is quite low, is the ending was just a bit crap, to be honest. So yeah. Next we have Illuminate by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. So obviously this is the first book in the Illuminate files, which I have the other two. I've not read them yet. This was really, really good. It was edge of your seat, grip and stuff. Loved the format of this one with the sort of mixed media stuff. It's a great, just intense sci-fi adventure. It's got some great horror. It's got some wonderful political stuff in there. It was just a really enjoyable time. It's quite a chunky thing. It feels very big as well. But it's such a quick, gripping read, and I really, really had a good time with it. Again, it doesn't really stick with me. It's not something I would say is my favourite of all time. I've read stuff that really sticks with me, the local favourites, and this just wasn't it for me. But it was great, and I will definitely be reading the rest of the trilogy. Next, we have The Weight of the Stars by Kay Ankrum. This was interesting. The thing with this was, I started it and I was enjoying it. Then I had a slump and I came back to it and I was not loving it. And I was kind of struggling, but still kind of enjoying it as well. And then I got to the end and I realised what it was doing and I loved it again. But because of that journey, it ends up here. Sort of middle-ish in the list. So yeah, I think the ending justifies everything in this book, like justifies this book in and of itself. I really like the ending. And I love the characters in here. There's a lot in here that I do really, really love. But yeah, it didn't quite reach me the same way. And I read The Wicker King, which I absolutely loved. And this just wasn't the same for me. But that's fair enough. Next we have In the Miso Soup by Ryo Murakami. Or Ryu, I don't know how to say that name. I'm very sorry for butchering it. This was really interesting. It's quite a short book, and it was kind of fascinating. Big trigger warnings for a particular scene in this book. But it's just a fascinating read from the point of view of this horrifying, like, serial killer. It's not from his point of view, it's from someone else who basically we're following this guy who we're following Kenji, and I've actually done a full review for this, so actually I would look that up, because I'm not going to reveal it here because I've been rambling for a very long time. So yeah. Next we have Maurice by Ian Forster. This was really, really good. It took me a while to read though, and I feel like I need to reread it and I need to watch the movie to fully gauge how I feel properly about this one. But I think for now, this will go there. And also, coincidentally, Giovanni's Room, which is fantastic. It deserves to be a classic. So does Maurice. But again, I read this sort of weirdly and sort of broken up. But I did really love this. I think this is a fantastic story. It is really, really well done. And I have done a podcast review of that one. Then we have Time Worm Exodus, which feels kind of like, how dare you put Time Worm Exodus above Giovanni's Room. I just enjoyed reading this more. Which I guess is the point. Like, you're not supposed to really enjoy Giovanni's Room, but I love this. This was really fun to read. There are some problems in it, but it's Terrence Dicks. It's alternate reality where the Nazis have won. We've got the Seventh Doctor and Ace. There's occult stuff. We've got the Seventh Doctor bluffing his way into Nazi HQ. It's just great. It's a fantastic story. I just had a great time with this. It was really fun. And I sped through it, so yeah. Next we have Here the Whole Time by Vita Martins. Again, this was lovely. This was at a point where I was just I was quite low and mentally, and so I needed some stuff to alleviate that. I read a lot of queer YA mainly, This was when I was reading. I'm just trying to think what I read now. Boy Meets Hamster and stuff like that. You know, I was reading that stuff. You can actually see the wrap up I did, and you can see that sort of timeline where I was reading this stuff. And it was just something I needed at that time. It was just a lovely, wonderful read. And I just wish that more of this author's stuff would be translated. So yeah, can we get on that, please? Oh god. Oh no. This is gonna all topple over. There we go. Right, next we have my favourite author of this year. So The Time Machine. This, I feel like people might be surprised this is rated so low, considering we all know where the other one's going to be. I really like this. I thought this was a fascinating, really interesting read. However, it just was not a favourite. But I did really like it. So yeah, The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. I'm just going to leave that there. Next we have Fever Dream by Samantha Schweblin. I don't know how to say the name. I'm sorry for butchering it. I really should have looked this up. This was a fever dream. It was weird, kind of scary, and I say fascinating a lot, I guess. But fascinating. And it is one of those that's written just in one go. There's not really any pauses, so you just have to read it. You know, no chapters or anything. You just have to read it right through. So I feel like if you're gonna read this, pick it up when you've got like a couple hours to spare, and just go through it, experience it. Maybe have a little break, because I did have a little break in between, but just, you know, experience it. I promise you, it is worth it. It was a really, really good read. And I'm not going to tell you what it's about, because I couldn't even if I wanted to, which I don't, because you should go into it blind. Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Caesar is, I think, the most fun I've had in a book. It's fantastic fun. I've done a review of this on YouTube. You can have a look at it. But it is a great YA slasher. It was really, really enjoyable. There's not really any twists or turns or anything, to be honest. But it was very, very, very good. Next, we're getting into the top now. These are brilliant books. So we've got Life of Riley, Beginner's Luck. Speaking of the devil, very low with no, I can't even. But Simon James Marine wins with Life of Riley, Beginner's Luck. This was great. This was really funny. This was really sweet. This was really it was a great time. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure this is going to be at least a couple books. Like, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a few books long. So yeah, I hope this gets turned into a series anyway, because this was really fun, and I did truly enjoy that one. So yeah. Next we have Time Worm Revelation by Paul Cornell. And did I talk about... Oh my god, I'm terrible. So, put your mind back to... Put your mind back to here the whole time. In fact, I'll put it up. Pretend that I've just talked about this. Okay, yeah, it was really what I needed at the time. And after that, I've also got something I read afterwards, which was 500 miles from the sun, 500,000, something like that. which is a fantastic, really, really enjoyable book. And yes, slightly too long, if I'm honest, but still very, very good. Highly recommend. Anyway, back to Time of Revelations. This was a hard read. This was difficult. This was not a fun. It was, but it wasn't like fun like Terrence Dicks. But it was fascinating. Really, really good. Really great character piece for the Doctor. This was the highlight of the Time Worm saga. Brilliant. I really, really enjoyed this. It actually made the Time Worm interesting, which and a proper threat. So yeah. Next we have Slaughterhouse 5 by Kurt Vonnegut. I read this fairly quickly, and it's such an excellent book. It holds up so well. It's just it's a classic for a reason. It truly is. And I'm raring to read some more Kurt Vonnegut. I think the thing that makes this work even more is just how earnest it feels, really. Like, the thing is, there's a lot of tongue-in-cheek stuff in here. There's a lot of black comedy, but it also feels very much like, you know, Kurt Vonnegut is like, all of this, which I don't know how much he did that with other books. I mean, obviously, the thing with this as well is that, like, he experienced at least part of this. And so it's just, it's fantastic. Yeah. Then we have In Watermelon Sugar by Richard Brottigan. This was great. I really enjoyed this. I picked this up because the Jack in the Books, Jack Edwards guy, he did the Harry Styles thing. Come on, everybody picked this. The books up. We only picked up a few, but we did pick this one up, and this was great. It's just a really odd, strange but wonderful book. And I need to read it again. Honestly, I will be reading it again. So yeah. And I have done a review with my mum on the podcast that you can go and watch. And another Doctor Who. Woohoo! We have Illegal Alien. I've read a lot of Doctor Who this year. Illegal Alien by Mike Tucker and Robert Perry. I thought I'd like this book, because obviously, again, 7th Doctor Ace. I thought I'd like this book, but I did not realise just how brilliant this was going to be. I like the Cybermen, but they've never really done it for me, to be honest. But this is just such a fantastic cyber story. I love the use of the World War II setting. I love the characters we get to meet in here. And again, it's just really fun as well. It feels like a classic adventure for a reason, because this was a script originally that they wrote for the series that they turned in, but obviously wasn't made. And then got wrote into a book, and it's brilliant. I really enjoyed it. There's some lovely horror moments. I like the use of the cybermats as well. It's great. Then we have You Should See Me in a Crown. I think this is my so from this one, it's my 5 favourites. This was wonderful. This was just wonderful. From beginning to end, it was wonderful. Well, I said beginning. I struggled a little bit right at the beginning, right the first few pages, like the first chapter or two. But once I got into the stride of this, just I loved it. I loved the characters. It was brilliant. I loved it. Yeah, I don't have many words for it. I did have a lot of words because I did do a podcast episode, well, not episode, but review of it again. So yeah. Then we have our last Doctor Who of the night. We have Ghostlight by Mark Platt, my favourite TV story and my favourite Doctor Who book of the year. Most of the Doctor Who books I read this year were fantastic. Last year, were fantastic. But how could this not win? It's Ghostlight. It's my favourite TV story. I love the expansion of it, and I've done a full review on YouTube, so you can go and check that out. Oh, I got a tickly throat. Next, I have Thanks a Lot Universe by Chad Lucas. This, I think you're all... In fact, the top thread, or top 4, you're probably expecting. Or at least, I'd say the top 2 anyway, if you've watched this channel. Because I love this. Honestly, in fact... War of the Worlds is my number 1, but these could interchange, to be honest. They're both my favourites. I loved both of these. So these are my favourites of 2021. These are my favourite reads of 2021, and it's wonderful that these are both really, really different. This is a wonderful new book that it's a middle grade. It tackles a lot of things really, really well. I think I did this for the podcast. I read this in one night. I just could not stop reading. I loved it so much. It tackles so many important topics so well. And it was a joy to read. It was... You know, it was funny at times. It was sad. It was sweet. It was everything I wanted. And it was a fantastic book. And I'm very, very excited for the horror, I believe, that's coming out from this author. So yeah. Then I have The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells, which is just such a fantastic sci-fi story. It's written spectacularly. I love how it's written. I love the format of this character recounting these events. It was brilliant. It held my attention throughout the book, even though it is a small book, but it's just brilliant. I loved it. And it caused me to get, and I love this little edition, and it caused me to get buy a lot of H.G. Wells fiction to read. The only book I've read other than this was obviously Time Machine, which was after this. Just such a fantastic read. I'm so glad that I finally gave this a go. I was not expecting to like it as much as I did. In fact, I didn't think I was going to like it that much at all, really. But I wanted to give it a go because it is a classic, and I was wanting to get into the classics of sci-fi, so this was something I had to read, and I'm so glad that I did. It's wonderful, and both of these are wonderful. In fact, I think I read these in pretty close side by side, you know. So, yeah, brilliant books. Wonderful. I mean, I didn't read them side by side, but brilliant books. Wonderful. Love them. So there we have it. There is what was it, 31 books? Actually no, 30 books, because I didn't include one of them. Silly me. But it was I had a fairly good reading year last year. I'm hoping that it's going to be better this year. And it's starting out really well. I'm reading a really great book. I've nearly finished it. A really interesting book. So yeah, I'm excited to get to talk about that one. And I hope that more brilliant reads come along, which I'm sure they will. So there you go. There are that list. I'm tired now. So yeah, links in the description for the podcast and also the Twitter at Blathering Pod. And also, obviously, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and want to keep up with the channel. And also, comment down below if you've read any of these books, what you think about these books, if you have read them, or if you're planning to read any of these. There's a lot here that I would highly recommend, or at least quite a few that I'd highly recommend for people. So, yeah. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!